comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So we went out to dinner last night. It was my wife's parents' anniversary gift to me. I said no twice, but it's hard to explain to them I'm trying to get the rig together to get back to Australia. And it's more like they will feel bad if they don't take me out to dinner. So I'm like, all right, let's go out to dinner. So we go out to this place, Contractors Club, and it's like a big fucking open area. There's trees and shit like that. It's like one of those places you need a membership to get into. And there's a little playground there for the kids so the kids can fuck off and injure themselves and do whatever. And you can just sit there eating some deep fried shit. So my son's over there playing and there's a couple other kids there. There's a smaller kid, a 3-year-old, and a girl my son's age. So they're just all playing and the little 3-year-old's just fucking running around like a crazy kid and they're having a good time, but they're yelling and they're starting to get a little bit annoying. And the little girl is like calling her mum just constantly. Just like, mama, mama, look at this. Mum, look at this. Mum, look at this. And after about half an hour of that, her mum just turns to her and says, stop calling my name. Just stop calling my name all the time, okay? I don't care what the fuck you're doing over there. And I was like, I like this bitch. So about 20 minutes later, they're on that, what do they call it? The fucking thing that you spin around. You sit on it and you spin it around fast and kids go flying off and fucking break their arms and shit. Is it called the Whizzy Diz? The merry-go-round? It's not a merry-go-round. It's a little bit like a merry-go-round without those stupid fucking horses. Anyway, my kid and the girl are on the fucking Whizzy Diz thing and they've got the 3-year-old fucking pushing them. And they're just yelling at this 3-year-old and he's almost having a heart attack because he's like barely can get it around. And then this little 3-year-old starts building some momentum and he starts spinning them around fucking fast. And the 2 older kids are like screaming, stop, stop, stop. And the little 3-year-old won't stop. And I'm watching it. I'm going, just fucking put your leg out and you can stop the fucking thing. But they're screaming like, stop, stop, stop. And I'm like, oh, I just can't be bothered with this shit. Then I see the mum walk over. The one that was like, stop calling my fucking name. So she rolls over and she just starts yelling at my kid and her daughter. Just going, how old are you kids? He's a 3-year-old. Just fucking blah, 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 blah. Just going off her head. And I'm sitting watching it, just applauding, just clapping. Just like, well done, bitch. I love that parenting. That was beautiful. Yeah, yell at my kid as well. I don't give a fuck. He should be scared of more than one person. He should be worried about more than one person. He only fucking listens to me. But you could see him. He was like, this bitch is crazy. So he wasn't talking back at all. He was shell-shocked. And I'm like, good, this bitch ain't raising any fucking Adrians. So anyway, a little bit later, the dad goes over, the dad of the girl, and he looks a little bit weird. He looks like, I don't know, like a hipster or some shit. He's got one of those beanies on with like the top of the head cut out, so it's more like a hairband sort of shit. So anyway, he's over there and he's talking to all the kids and that. And then he comes over to me and he's like, you Australian? And I'm like, yeah, yeah. And he's like, oh, I'm Kiwi, bro. And I'm like, yeah, fuck, my whole family's New Zealand. And he's like, oh, true. I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And we start talking. And I realize mid-conversation, this is the first fucking cunt I've had a conversation with in about a year where I haven't had to like modify my speech so people could understand. I could just speak like I'm speaking now. I don't speak like this during the day. I'm like, hey, food what time? So I'm like, yeah, mate, been here about a year, heading back in March, mate. Just going full Aussie. It felt so good to speak to someone that understood all my inflections, all my slang, all my bullshit. And about 4 or 5 times he tried to walk away to end the conversation and I kept asking him questions, calling him back. Let's talk about New Zealand. What the fuck is going on? Please just talk to me a little bit more. It must have been strange for my in-laws to watch because they probably saw me talk more in that 3 minutes than they have in the previous 11 months. I didn't realize until then how much I really do have to alter my speech just to get by here. Even with my wife's friends who understand English perfectly, it's just the accent thing and the way I speak like a little bit retarded. I can see them just blank out when I'm speaking when they don't understand or they're not following what the fuck I'm saying. But this cunt followed everything. I was basically slurring. I was like, yeah, it's fucking sweet. We're fucking going in here. Probably going to head out, get back to Australia. Wouldn't mind going back over to New Zealand for a little while. Check out what's going on in the land of the big white fucking cloud. It was good, but that's about all I need. That's enough communication. I like to be silent now. Brooding silence. Anyway, it's that time of the week again. It is Fucked Up Fridays. Listener's Story Day. Get you fucking amped up for the weekend. If you would like to send in a story to be read out on the podcast, head to my website, boylecomedy.com. boylecomedy.com. You'll see a section there, Fucked Up Fridays. Send it through. You can still email me as well, boylecomedy@gmail.com, but I'll be prioritizing the website. And don't send them into my social media anymore. Go and follow me, Boyle Comedy, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, but don't send the fucking stories in. So here's how I'm going to prioritize the story. Patreon first. This is on the condition the stories are fucking good. I'm not taking a piece of shit story from the Patreon ahead of a fucking wild story somewhere else. So the Patreon, then the website, then email, and then fucking social media and shit. So if you want to support the podcast, buy a Boyle a beer, subscribe to the Patreon. The links are in my social media bios, or just message me directly and I'll send you the link myself. Anyway, let's get to the fucking goddamn story. So this is another story sent in through the website. It is from an Australian, Will. It's been a while since we've had a fucking Aussie story, hasn't it? I think it has. Anyway, let's get to Will's story. So I was about 16, maybe 17. It's my friend's birthday, so we go to get drunk on the beach in Cronulla. If you're unaware of Cronulla, if you've never heard of it before, search Cronulla riots on YouTube. Cronulla spelt Cronulla. A little bit of fun for you. So they're on the beach in Cronulla with about 10 people in total. My drink of choice during this period was vodka, and my party trick was sculling a whole bottle, which I had done a few times before to impress my friends. That's how fucked up things are. I tell you what impresses my friends, alcohol poisoning. Whoever can go closest to death wins. Don't worry, I did that plenty of times. It never ended well. Usually ended with me passed out in a puddle of regurgitated vodka and stomach acid. On this particular night, I was feeling confident in my drinking abilities. Go, son. I bought with me a 750ml bottle of Smirnoff, along with a 1 litre bottle of Smirnoff. Getting into the night, I'd made my way through the 750ml bottle with partial sculls. My girlfriend at the time is getting pretty tired, and she says it's because she's been having antibiotics and she shouldn't drink. So I let her have a little nap on the Esplanade and continue my night, keeping the occasional eye on her. See, responsible. I must have missed it, but one of my friends, a total fucking creep, we'll call him Bob, apparently thought it would be a good idea to hook up with my girlfriend while she was there half asleep. Jesus Christ, she woke up to him trying to kiss her and told me what he did right away. I called him out on it and we started arguing about it. He kept saying, "It's all good. It's all good." And each time he said that, it filled me with rage and violence, and I'm really not a violent guy. There I am standing with a litre bottle of vodka in one hand and a 1.25 litre Sprite chaser in the other. I considered smashing the vodka over his head. I actually told him I would. I retracted that statement and rephrased it, shouting, "When I finish this bottle, I'm going to smash it over your fucking head." I wasn't going to waste perfectly good alcohol. My friend didn't believe me. He stands there smug and carefree. Time to pull out the party trick. I'd never done a whole litre before, so it was I'd never done a full litre before, so it was a real struggle. And I was already fucked up enough as it is, but I think the anger was sobering me. I start sculling the leader, maintaining staunch eye contact with him. Once I clear about half the bottle, struggling through with no intention to stop, he realizes I'm serious and starts to back off. By the time I finish the bottle, he's scurried off. I call out for him to come back and stop being a pussy after recovering with my chaser. Angry that he got away, I smash the bottle on the ground before me. Taking my first step forward, I press a big shard of glass straight through me connies and into my right foot. I felt it, but I was wasted enough not to worry about the pain. I sit down and feel around for the glass with my left hand. I slice open the tip of my middle finger, definitely more damage than the foot. Despite that, I've now located the glass. I pull it out and begin my search. Right here is where I black out. So from here on in, it's the stories I was told by others in attendance that night. I proceed up the esplanade, encountering other friends along the way and telling them to tell me where Bob is. I scream out to him, "Bob, where are you? I'm gonna fucking kill you." My friends try to calm me down and stop me, and I start trying to punch them instead. Even my girlfriend tried to stop me, but I just moved her to the side and told her to stop. I come across one of my best mates and his girlfriend, totally avoiding the whole situation. I called them a cute couple and asked them if I should write his girlfriend's name on the esplanade wall with my profusely bleeding finger. They said no, but I did it anyway. Probably the creepiest thing I've ever done in my life. I trawl around the streets near the esplanade tracking Bob. At times I would catch up with him and we'd throw some useless punches and then vomit on each other before continuing the chase. The rest of the night gives little detail except for one thing. I found victory in my battle. I caught Bob in a quiet street and succeeded in grabbing his head and sending his face into a car window. I don't know if the window smashed or not, but that's what my mate told me and I choose to believe it. After the chaos, my mates put my dead self into a shopping trolley and started pushing me up the highway. I remember we bumped into a man watering his garden in the early morning. He offered to hose me off and said he remembered having similar nights when he was young. It's an Australian fucking tradition. It's our culture. Who said we have no fucking culture? They pushed me to my mate's girlfriend's house, the couple I mentioned earlier, and we all passed out in the living room. I woke up spooning someone thinking it was my girlfriend. When I saw my girlfriend asleep on the futon on the floor, I realized this was my mate's girlfriend. I didn't fuck her, but I still have no idea how I ended up there when I surely passed out on the futon. This is so fucking 17-year-old story. One of my friends lost his wallet that night. He found it by following the trail of blood I had left on my violent journey. Bob called me in the morning and we smoothed things over. We called it even. What about your missus? You and Bob called it even. Shouldn't your chick have been involved in the fucking negotiations? She was the one who got assaulted. Nah, me and Bobby are good, just a couple of fellas. We had a little bit of a disagreement, a little misunderstanding. And your chick's like, hey, he tried to fucking rape me over here. Anyway, back to the story. We later did the math on my consumption that night. Factoring in the drinks I was given by my mates, I'd racked up about 60 standard drinks. Not that I kept it all down. I could barely shit for a week after that night. My body was in shock for at least 7 days. I copped a nice little scar on my finger and never drank vodka again. That made me a little bit fucking homesick, Will, and a little bit nostalgic for my youth. That was a very teenage Australian story, and it couldn't have happened in a more Aussie fucking place than Cronulla. YouTube Cronulla riots for a little bit of fun, but that's it for tonight. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you the fuck later.